So, thoughts about the Steven Universe series finale. I'm not entirely sure how to process everything, honestly, but above all, what I'm coming out of this experience with, being somebody who has watched the show since it began, fell in love with it from the first season, and kept watching it from then on out loyally, I'm satisfied by the ending, and I'm ultimately glad to have experienced this show and been a part of the community that has come out of the show, and I'm very grateful to the crew for creating something that not only creates representation for people who didn't previously have it, such as myself, and seeing a cartoon where things I didn't get to see on TV when I was a kid, now I know that children have at least one example that is made for them that can show something different. And that feels good to know, because I never had that on TV when I was a kid. And not only does the show represent different types of relationships, it also talks about trauma and abuse and mental health and the cycle of family violence, and it is incredible to me how they handled that aspect of the show allegorically. I do have criticisms with the show, as somebody does with anything. I mean, really, if you truly love something, you can look at it and see that there's things wrong with it. But ultimately, I think that the show ended on a good note, and they covered things that I didn't expect them to, and I feel very emotionally fulfilled and impacted, and like I have been improved as a person by watching this show. I feel like it's taught me things not just about its world, but about myself and being human in some ways. And that's very special, that something like a show can make people feel emotionally grounded and help them recover from things they've been through in their life. There's something special about that. And on top of that, they also did somewhat redeem the diamonds in ways I didn't expect them to. I was kind of disappointed and expecting them to kind of gloss over the diamonds and not really fully address all of the terrible things that they did, but they did manage to develop further on that before ending the show in a way that felt satisfying. The fact that the diamonds truly seem to be acknowledging and remorseful for their actions in a way that they weren't expressing before, whereas before it seemed like they were just kind of putting up a front so that Steven would think they were doing better. Now they actually show improvement, and that I did like, although I still don't know if I entirely feel that they should be forgiven for the things that they've done. I think that it is good that they are at least showing improvement and making it seem more reasonable that they have been given a second chance. So ultimately, while there are some things that could be griped about, such as pacing issues and some minor developments that didn't come to full fruition, I'm happy with the ultimate overarching story, and I am so proud of Steven. And on top of that, on the non-fictional side of things, I am so proud of and happy with the entire crewniverse, every single one of them, because all of them put their heart and a piece of themselves into the show, and you can tell that even though it started with Rebecca Sugar, it was every one of those people put themselves into this show, and I think that's part of why it felt so special and so genuine and so human, because you had all of these perspectives being put together through the form of this narrative to show how to deal with things in life in a way that isn't shoved down your throat or ham-fisted, but it's a gut punch when you realize what the show is trying to tell you emotionally about yourself and about the world, and when you realize that it's not just about aliens and spaceships and galactic revolution. It's really not even about that. Those things are just a narrative device for this incredible emotional story that is ultimately about family and trauma and growing up. And that is really special. And for me, it came around at the perfect time because Steven Universe began when I was at the height of my mental health problems. And I've steadily improved myself as the show has developed, not entirely due to that, obviously, but it has helped me on the journey to recovery vastly. More than you could expect something like that to help somebody. So, closing thoughts. Let's see. I'm glad to see that Steven isn't just better instantly at the end, too. I was a bit afraid that that would be the case. I was also afraid that he wouldn't get better at all and that possibly we may all end up getting our hearts broken and that things would just stay bad. Although I know the chances of that were always pretty slim. There was a fear. But now I'm pretty happy with how it ended, and I feel fulfilled in the fact that while he didn't just magically get better, he's going out on his own and he's going to discover himself. And he has a chance to get better. He's on the path to recovery and he has rebuilt his support system. And that in itself, I think, worked really well. Once again, I want to say thank you to the Crewniverse and to the entire community and to all of the people who created this show, because without it, I feel like I wouldn't be the same person that I am, and that's very impactful. This show has had an impact on people in very interesting and incredible ways. And without this show, I wouldn't have some of the friends that I have. And for that, I want to say thank you.